When it comes to improving anything, I'm sure you've heard the old saying, practice makes perfect. And when it comes to learning guitar, not only is that true, but I'll take it one step further and say perfect practice makes perfect. And when I say perfect practice, I don't mean being perfect. I mean doing the perfect thing for where you're at that moment in time. I've been teaching guitar for about 15 years, and in that time, I have helped thousands of people reach their goals on guitar. And for every one of these people, I made a point of ensuring that when they left my studio, they knew exactly what they needed to practice. And after doing this a whole bunch, I started noticing some trends. And today, I'd like to share with you all the essence of all that experience so that you can avoid the trial and error phase and skip straight ahead to practicing the right thing at the right time so that you can improve on guitar faster and do the things that matter sooner than you otherwise would. Because ultimately, we want to have fun with guitar. We want to play songs. That's why we practice. Maybe some people like to practice for the sake of practicing, and that's cool. They probably already know what to do. They don't need my help. But if you want to practice better, this lesson is for you. Really quick before we get started, when it comes to what to practice, I have a free ebook that has all the basic chord shapes, the most useful strumming patterns, chord progressions, a ton more, everything that you would need to work on in order to become an accomplished guitar player. I'll put a link to that in the corner and down below in the description. I also have a premium course, Learn Guitar Once and For All. We can talk more about that later. And if you like learning guitar with me, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon. Now, when it comes to absolute beginners, the process is pretty much the same for everybody. Your goal is to develop a good sense of rhythm so that you can carry the beat of the song. Guitar is the coolest instrument by far, in my super biased opinion, because it's both a rhythm and a lead instrument. But it's always a good idea to learn a little bit of rhythm first because it ensures that we get the fundamentals, a sense of rhythm, a basic knowledge of chords, and the structure of a song. In other words, being able to follow along with the song, putting the chords in the right order so that you can make chord progressions and you can play music. And for a beginner, I recommend practicing 15 minutes a day. And you can skip a day or two, getting in, maybe 4 to 6 practice sessions a week. That's probably the healthiest. And we'll divide up our 15 minutes like this. 5 minutes working on your chord shapes or your chord hand, making sure that it's able to switch between chords without delay, that it's accurate and it's making the strings ring clearly. We'll spend 5 minutes working on our rhythm hand or our rhythm in general, making sure that we can lock into the beat of the song and that we can strum the guitar with a nice sound. And then we'll spend 5 minutes putting those two elements together and playing music, playing songs. And even if you're not an absolute beginner, if you're somebody that I call an eternal beginner who is maybe struggling to get comfortable with chords and strumming, this all applies to you as well. We're going to start with our chord hand. Step 1 is to choose a song that's at your level. For a beginner, 2-chord songs are the best, but you can do more if you're ready. Let's, for example, do Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen. That's a 2-chord song. First, we obviously learn the chord shapes, E major, we learn where to put our fingers and all that, and then we move to the next chord shape, in this case, A. And I know I'm just blazing through this because I'm showing you what the practice session looks like. If you want to learn how to do this stuff, to play these shapes, to play this song, I have a free crash course that's designed to give you the first couple weeks of guitar lessons so you can tune up, hold the guitar properly, and even play 2 songs from start to finish. I'll put a link in the corner and down below for those of you who want to, learn what I'm doing here. So we have our E chord and our A chord. And the first thing that I'll practice is silent switching. And that's where I just switch back and forth silently, focusing on getting your fingers down in the right spots, making sure that your thumb is in a good place, that everything feels good. We're doing it over and over again because repetition is key. That's what's going to make you better at anything. Basketball players throw the same free throw 1,000 times in practice. So that way when the big game comes, they won't miss it. So we're going to change chords, silent switch maybe 20 times back and forth. And then the second thing I'll do the chord switching game where I go strum, strum, switch, switch, strum, strum, switch, back. And that adds an element of rhythm to our chord switching. It makes us count along. It adds a little bit of pressure. There's a time limit now because you got to switch chords along with the beat, just like you do when you're playing a song. The beat keeps going and you got to keep up with it. That's one of the things that's unique about music and what makes it difficult at first and frustrating for some people if they do not take these steps. Once again, the chord switching game, we work through it extensively in my crash course. There's actually a few more steps to it to go from not knowing the chords at all to the point where you can just use them in a song. And, we go through all that. So you can do that at your own leisure. So that's the first 5 minutes of our practice session, those exercises. Now, the next 5 minutes we'll spend on our rhythm hand. For rhythm, when you're just getting started, you want to make sure that you can do 3 things. The first thing you should practice is playing downstrokes as you count to 4 over and over again. 1, 2, 3, 4. You go slow at your own pace, but make sure it's steady and try to make a nice, clean, smooth sound. You don't want to go too slow or too fast. You just want to kind of chug along. I have a video where I go over 8 strumming mistakes that people often make. It's a good idea. It's here on YouTube. It's a good idea to look through that just so you can make sure you're doing everything right from the start. I'll put a link to that in the corner. The second thing to practice is doing small downstrokes, counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And notice I'm doing just tiny little downstrokes, but it's a little bit quicker. And you count along 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now you might be thinking right now, what about all those upstrokes that I see in strumming patterns? Well, the third thing I'll practice, we go back to that second exercise that we just did and we modify it. We go down on the numbers and up on the ands. And I would mute the strings and go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And just down, up, over and over again, down on the numbers, up on the ands, and try to change your pick angle, kind of like you're brushing the strings with a paintbrush. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Notice how your forearm rotates a little bit? These 3 exercises will address the mechanics of strumming. From here, you'll be able to choose a pattern, let's say down, 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 up, and work on it using the same principles. Anyways, we spend 5 minutes working on our strumming like that, and then we work on putting it all together. So we take a look at our song, Born in the USA, and in that case, we have the E chord for 4 measures, and then we have the A chord for 4 measures. So we're going to count to 4 times for the E chord. And if I were to play through it, I would just play downstrokes, 4 downstrokes per chord shape as I count out loud. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Then I make that switch because I practice switching separately. And we just go through it like that. 4 downstrokes per chord symbol, counting out loud. So that way you can get the chords in the right order for the right amount of time. And then I would do that second strumming exercise, going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and going through it the exact same way at your own pace. And that gets us used to going a little bit quicker. And then we can start adding that strumming pattern that we're working on, the same one that we practiced before, and we would play it 1 time per chord symbol. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And I would be sure to do this over and over again. So basically your practice routine consists of taking a song and then breaking it down into the components, the chords and the strumming. You work on each of them separately. And then when you're putting it together, taking away certain elements, practicing the chords in the right order with downstrokes only. That way you're just adding rhythm and counting, but you're not necessarily adding the strumming pattern. Then you could practice the strumming pattern on each chord shape by itself. Maybe it doesn't sound so great on the A chord for some reason, so you just practice it on that chord by itself. You're doing it in all sorts of different combinations and just taking elements out of it and then adding them back slowly till you have the chords with the strumming pattern in the right order, and that's the song. And if you want me to take you through this entire process over the course of a couple weeks and learn 2 songs along the way, a handful of strumming patterns, a few chord shapes, and everything you need to get started. I have a free crash course. It's completely free. You can sign up right now. Registration is still open, and you can get started on that. Within a couple weeks, not only will you be playing a couple of songs that you'll recognize, but I'll have brought you through every step of the way, you know, making sure that you're tuning your guitar and all that other really useful stuff, some warm-ups. You know, today I was kind of just showing you the general idea of it, like a summary, but there I'll actually play through everything with you and walk you through it all, just like you would learn if you were to, you know, go to the music shop and pay $50 a lesson for a couple months. And let's say you're at the point where you want to go a step further than that and you want to learn everything you need to be a confident campfire strummer, you know, somebody who can just play through a big repertoire of tunes. I have a course, Learn Guitar Once and For All. You know, the crash course is enough to get started, but Learn Guitar Once and For All takes you through all the basic chord shapes, strumming patterns, and techniques that you'll need to play thousands of songs. It also comes with access to the Good Guitarist community, which is a place where you can ask me questions directly. You know, I don't want you to get stuck. I'm going to help you through all those tough spots. And you can also talk to other people who are taking the course or who have already taken the course. You know, there's a whole bunch of people there and we're all helping each other learn guitar. So I encourage you to check that out. Otherwise, thanks for watching the video up to this point. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy learning guitar with me. Have a fun time practicing, and I'll see you soon.